took me honestly like 10 years. Like 10 years. Well, I did my first full Ironman 7 years ago. And it was this April here in Texas that I got my slot to Kona at a full distance Ironman, which was like a huge accomplishment for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like very excited. That's been my goal, like racing so many, like number 9 Ironman. And I'm like, I don't know if I can like do it. It's been 8 Ironmans. I haven't done it before.
And where was that one?
That was in the Woodlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that race like?
Oh man, it was great. I really liked it. Training here in Austin, like we're talking about the heat, like got used to the humidity. I've gotten used to the like oppressive conditions here. Mm-hmm. And that can be wind, and that can be like a random storm. But mostly the heat. And yeah, I felt pretty confident about that. Everyone was talking about how hot it was going to be, but we had cloud coverage the whole day and it was humid, but like wasn't that bad, honestly. Like I feel like Austin gets hotter. But yeah, 2.4 mile swim in a reservoir out there. Also, everyone told me how nasty the water was. It wasn't that bad. And after swimming in Lady Bird Lake, which I love Lady Bird Lake, it's a very special place in my heart, but not necessarily swimming in it.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Yeah. So after swimming in that, I'm like, I mean, nothing's that bad compared to that. Yeah. So yeah, that swim it was super fun. You finish like in this little canal that goes through this neighborhood and like mall area, and so all the fans are like watching right on
the swim.
Yeah, right on the water's edge, and it's just like this narrow little chute, and like everyone's on the water's edge like cheering, and you can hear like applause and cheering and while you're in the water.
That's cool.
Which is like very rare, and yeah, and then yeah, the bike ride was really windy. The bike ride it's also very straight. You go on, it's like a toll road. They close off a toll road, so it's just for bikes. It's a freeway, and it's not very beautiful. In the beginning, though, when you're in the Woodlands, it actually makes sense why it's called the Woodlands. I had never been. There's lots of trees, and it's quite scenic. But then after that, you're on the highway for 80 miles total, a few hours, and yeah, it was pretty gnarly. Like there was a huge headwind, very strong headwind as you're going south. And then when you turn around, you get this really awesome tailwind blowing you back to town. And then you got to do it again. But yeah, it was super fun. Yeah, just like head down. Got to watch for people. Obviously, you got to be safe. I saw some crashes. I hope they're all right. But yeah, you got to like really be alert, especially in the winds. And then there's a lot of close riding. There's definitely complaints about drafting because, it's not draft legal. And that was known going into it. Everyone told me lots of people draft. Watch out for it. And then, yeah, I mean, after the ride, it was a blazing fast ride. And then after the ride was, time for the marathon run. And there's like 3 laps. Oh, yeah, that's a good story, actually. The run, I actually have a good story. So I guess to start is like I had a different mindset going into this race. I was like, start the run slower than you want to. No matter how good you feel, turn it down. I like to race by kilometers per minute or whatever, or minutes per kilometer instead of minutes per mile, just because it ticks away faster. Like 42K is a marathon, and 5-minute pace was like not bad. It's like a 3:30 marathon, 5 minute per kilometer. And that's like an 8-minute mile. I was like, I can do 5 minutes. Cause that's all my marathons in Ironman, at least, have always come to that range. By the end, I'm like, I can't even hold 5-minute pace and I'm like dying. So I was like, don't start faster than 5.
Yeah.
So of course I'm going, it's like 4:45. It's too fast. So I just started walking, and I was like, it was a very new thing for me. And that took some like very like mental strength or something, willpower, to like hold myself back, even though I was feeling so good.
Yes.
to know that like it's a long day ahead. And it was already a long day behind me.
Mhm.
So like I'm fatigued even though I don't feel like it. So I need to like turn it down now. So I would walk like, I was counting like 20 seconds or something and then run again and just run comfortably. Took in lots of salt. I was always using that moment to like make sure I was like calculating the like salt dosage I've had, like a little math, time killer.
Yeah.
Crunching numbers. Like I was trying to hit 900 milligrams of salt per hour. I took a salt sweat test like a few years ago, which I should redo because it changes depending on where you're at in your life, everything. But yeah, I was like taking little salt pills.
So that salt sweat test just tells you how much salt is in your sweat, so that you know.
Yeah, you wanna like.
How do you know how much salt or how much sweat you're actually like?
The liquid volume, that actually is pretty easy to do. You can do that at home, like, or you can.
Oh, you weigh yourself?
Just weigh yourself.
Yeah.
Like weigh yourself. No clothes. Go for your run or do something hard in this heat. Time it, obviously. An hour workout would be ideal because then you can know like per hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then weigh yourself, no clothes, because your clothes are gonna be drenched with sweat.
Right, they're gonna hold it.
Yeah, so you gotta get rid of that, and then then you know.
Okay.
It's actually pretty simple concept.
Okay, so you have that number in your head, like 900 is what it came out to.
Yeah, in terms of salt, sodium. In terms of sodium loss, but
any other electrolytes?
I haven't measured the other electrolytes. What do we got? Like magnesium, calcium, chloride, potassium. Yeah. I haven't measured those, and it's usually the sodium that is the biggest loss.
Mm-hmm.
I should do a new one. And I know like Gatorade has some like really easy.
Yeah, they have the
patch
ones you just buy. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, I think it's like $15. I don't know. I think they're pretty cheap. It's easy to like, say like, oh yeah, everyone go do a sweat test, but it's like you have to like do a hard workout, and you got to like be like scientific about it.
Mm-hmm.
And often like my workouts, I'm like, I gotta go, and also I gotta get home, shower, and like go to work. Or
yeah, I know there's always shit going on.
Yeah,
it's hard to actually just time out. Okay, today I'm gonna figure out how much salt I lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think it's so important. I feel like everybody should do it because what I learned was that like we all sweat so differently, and it's not even about like fitness level either. It's just like this. I feel like it's like the size of like our cells or something, like different people sweat more. Or sweat more sodium. It can be like thousands of milligrams, and other people can be like 500 milligrams, and that's like a huge difference, right? I do like it seems to be a trend of like more electrolytes are being pushed out as like marketed towards everybody.
Mm-hmm.
The Noon tabs, like the drip drop,
liquid IV.
Yeah, exactly. Liquid IV, like, and I feel like that one's more for everybody. It's not even like athletes only, right?
Yeah, it's like the hangover cure. That's
like
what everyone knows it as.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I'm a big fan of the like more salt.
Yeah. Okay, so you are into your marathon part of the race.
Yeah.
Calculating your and which I totally understand that. I did the same thing, and I did the Austin Marathon, and that's what I would like
thinking about,
use my brain.
Like the gels, or
I would be thinking about how much liquid I was drinking, because I had measured out. I didn't know how much salt I sweat out, but I just had an idea of how much I wanted to be drinking.
Mm-hmm. Austin Marathon, and that was in February, right?
Yep.
And that's like, it's like a different world. Like February in Austin, it was cold.
That's pretty nice.
It was
a good day for running.
Yeah, perfect. I loved it. Yeah, I did the 5K that day.
Nice.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and that was
that's the one that's just like straight up and down Congress.
Yeah, and it's so painful because it's like deceivingly steep hill for
a
whole 1.5 miles, but still.
Have you done the half or the full?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because it's that kind of like just slowly all the way up Congress, and you just go all the way to the interstate, and then you come over and come back on first.
Right, and then those downhills, man, that can like thrash your quads.
Yeah,
can be tough. But yeah, like in terms of like salt loss on that day would be different than salt loss on like a day like today.
Yeah,
So it's really interesting. I mean, I still kind of shoot for more salt, the better. But anyway, so calculating that out, walking, taking walk breaks, trying to keep my pace under control, and really, yeah, like tempering my run.
Yeah.
Trying to like go easy. Because a marathon will never be like easy, really. It's a long day. And yeah, just like pounding the gels, going for the caffeine, especially when my mood was going low, when you're feeling like, oh my gosh, it's a 3-lap course. You got 1 lap down, dang, still 2 more to go. And like caffeine is always like a, yay, I'm happy again. Yeah. But also calories too. Like it's a definite mood booster, right?
Mm-hmm. Like blood sugar.
Yeah, exactly. Sugar and caffeine. So anyway, yeah, I was letting some people pass. I mean, you know, letting them, they're passing me whether I let them or not. But also I was definitely making some moves on the field as well. Didn't have anybody like telling me my position, but I could tell I was passing some people that were ahead of me earlier. And then it starts to get crowded again. This is a 3-lap course, you know, so now everyone's starting to be on the run course by the time I'm on the last lap, and it's good, a good energy. You got more fans out there. There's this area called like Hippie Hollow, which was just like people are like banging on trash cans, and it's like it's really fun, really good energy, definitely good hype up, but like really loud. And you know, like in a marathon when you're trying to like zone 2 endurance pace, you're trying to like be zen about it. Yeah, like everyone's like, go, go. Like as if you're like about to sprint finish, and you're like, I still have 10 miles, dude. Yeah. So like going through there, and then I got this surge, and it was like 5K to go, and I was like, I know I have this like second, third wind, whatever you want to call it. And so I started going, and I felt really good. It was like my fastest 5K of the marathon. Passed my buddy Brett King, shout out Brett King, great guy. And we had like been planning this race together. We actually like traveled, we got Airbnb together, and we were prepping for this for a while. Really awesome dude. He's a pilot actually. And yeah, I like caught up to him and passed him, you know, gave him a little spank and said, let's go, man. He's like, go for it. But we were about to be in the same age group too, and we were like, one of us has to get a Kona slot. If not both, one of us has to. And I'm like flying, and the wind's blowing, and it's like starting to get like race brain, where it's kind of tunnel vision, you know, not thinking super clearly. And I'm going on this course. It's a 3-lap course, and I start to see some like things on the side of the race, people and like restaurants that I'm like, I feel like I've seen this already. I've seen this too many times. I've seen this 3 times. So I'm like, oh no, this is like 4th lap. This is not supposed to be, I'm not supposed to be on a 4th lap. I passed the split. There was a split, there's a split to the finish, and then it says like laps 1, 2, 3 this way, finish this way. And I went on to the like 1, 2, 3. It's not anyone else's fault but my own. You got to know the course ultimately. However, some courses and races mark that stuff better than others.
It's usually very clear.
Yeah, it wasn't very clear to me. Although all my friends, including Brett, was like, how could you miss that? We've been waiting for this moment to make that split to the finish all day. How do you miss that? But it was like duct tape on the ground, and it was like 1, 2, 3 this way and finish that. There was no person there, and usually at races there's someone like saying like something. But anyway, I own it. I definitely messed up. And I'm running, and I froze because I was like, oh no, I'm starting 4th lap. Wait, where was the split? How far back is it? And I look to the crowd, and there's like people cheering, cowbells, and like banging on trash cans. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm done. Where's the finish? And they're like, keep going. Like, good job, runner. Like, yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm done. They thought I was like, I don't know what they thought. They're like, what? I'm like, I've done 3 laps. Where's the finish? And then I see Chris Lieto. He's a former pro triathlete, Ironman champion. Actually, it was Chris Lieto's video on YouTube with Craig Alexander. It was like 2008 Ironman World Championship that got me so excited about Ironman. He lives in Kona. Really great guy. He's there. And I was like, what the heck? Chris Lieto's doing here? What is he doing here? And he's like, dude, what are you doing? And I'm like, where's the finish? He's like, you got to go back. And then like, there's a coach out here, Natasha, NVDM coaching, huge triathlon team. Really amazing how big her squad is and successful too. And she's like, turn around now. And like, which is so awesome of them to like help me because I was having a panic attack, like full on. I was like frozen. They're like, turn around. It's that way. Go. And this is like the fastest 5K of my marathon. Yeah. I turn around and I see the place that I missed it and I'm sprinting and I see my buddy that I had passed already. Another guy I had passed already and I'm trying to catch up to them. And then, gosh, I was really mad at myself. I was like really disappointed in myself because like 9 hours, 5 minutes. I could have done like a 9:05. Ended up being a 9:07, which is like my best and not something to complain about. But it could have been faster. I was 6th, the age group. I could have been 4th, maybe. Who knows? But it was a good lesson. And it was like a reminder that even when you make a mistake that you think is like irreversible, you can still like turn around. Even if you go down the wrong path, like you can still change course, backtrack. Yeah. Find that place that you messed up, find that fork in the road. And it's okay. And you can still do well from it, you know?
And there's something to be said about like cutting your losses. Like what that lady was telling you, like turn around and go. Yeah. It's like, as soon as you realize you're on the wrong path, just go back.
For sure.
Like there's no point in,
I've
standing and thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't overthink it. Just like, when you know you're making the wrong decision, flip it and go. And don't beat yourself up about it too. That's another lesson, right? And then another lesson was like, I mean, you can make mistakes and you can look to other people for like what to do. But in the beginning, remember I was saying like, everyone's saying like, yeah, keep going. Good job. And other people are like, oh, turn around. And there was like this cacophony of advice. And it was like just too much. And like, ultimately, I mean, Chris and Natasha were very vital to like yell at me, but still ultimately it was me who had to turn around. It was me who had to move my legs, make the decision and go. And like, you can hear all this advice and like ask people for advice and stuff, which is useful, but still it's going to take you to do the thing, you know?
Yeah.
That was a big lesson for me for sure. Yeah. I know there's more lessons from that too.
And so that got you a slot?
And then that got me a slot anyway. Yeah. Yeah. So, and Brett too, my buddy, he got a slot. I got a slot. It was great. And it's like the North American Championship. So they do allocate more slots at these races. Often it's like you have to be first or second in your age group. But with 6th, I was still able to get a slot, which is very grateful because I would have been so sad if I missed my slot because I made a wrong turn.
Yeah, I think that is a pretty ideal mistake to make.
Yeah.
Because you get all of the learning and and it's not as costly as it could have been.
Yeah.
Like that could have happened at Kona. Like,
oh my gosh.
And that would have been so bad.
Oh my gosh. Yes. The learning. Yeah. So that reminds me of the one other thing that I was like reflecting on about this was like, being present is something that I really value. I want to be present with people I'm talking to. I want them to be present with me. Like, I feel like, when you're reading a book, when you're watching a show, like really getting into it, being present is like, I love it. I'm all about it. But it was like the first time I was like, oh my gosh, like you can actually be too present sometimes, too in the moment. And I was like, and that's like race brain is like, I was so in the moment of my fastest 5K. Oh my gosh, I'm like ticking. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, I'm at going like 440s right now, like 430s. I'm going so fast. This is the best thing ever. I'm negative splitting my marathon at Ironman. I'm in the moment, every step, every breath, just doosh, 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 and just like hyper focus on that moment within a moment that you like forget the exit. You forget the turn off. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we've probably all done this driving, right? Like you're in the moment, you're listening to music, or maybe you're on a call and you're just in that, but you forget about the big picture. And like, sometimes you gotta like not be so in the moment and think about this next step that's like vital to, to like make that exit or make that decision. Mm-hmm. So that was a really interesting thing for me to like realize that like being super present all the time, you might actually like miss some future plans that you had.
Yeah. So what would you say you're like, what have you learned from triathlons? If you could sum it up.
Oh man. So much. Cause it's been, like a huge part of my life, huge part of like day to day. And then how I've like met people and met really awesome people in the world and here in Texas, and moving here 2 years ago, is how I like tapped into different communities, through running, cycling, a little swimming. What have I learned from triathlon? I mean, going back to like planning things out, like being really detail oriented, really thinking about also like contingency plans, plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, in terms of like nutrition. What do you do if your bottle falls off your bike? Mm-hmm. What do you do if your gels aren't there when you get back to your shoes, when you put on your run shoes and you have your gels there, now they're gone? Like always having these plans to like know what you're going to do. Or like, if I get a flat, can I fix it? If I can't fix it, what am I going to do? What are the like options in the race? If, I tried plan A, B, and C, then sometimes there's like assistance, I really like that aspect of triathlon. The like kind of like that, like survivalist is a bit extreme to apply to triathlon, but if I were to go on a big backpacking trip, it's been a while, but it's kind of similar, lining up all the little gear that you need, all the little things to make it comfortable and fun, but also like efficient and light. So I guess hyper preparation as like a skill set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I learned a lot, but that's one thing.
Where do you find willpower? So let me focus in on like willpower for either training. So like you have a hard day of training. Where do you get the willpower to go into that and do it all? Mm-hmm. And then let's say like a race day. So the actual performance.
Yeah. Super different, I would say. And it's changed a lot for me lately. I'd say in the past couple months. I think that's the second time my voice cracked.
We welcome it.
Last couple months it's changed a bit. Like I've been so regimented in terms of like having a program and calendar, and I'm a coach as well, so like I like to like also promote that for my athletes. Like have your 16-week plan, have that race that's in the winter that is like something that you're looking forward to all the way in the spring. Mm-hmm. I've had that in my life for the past 10 years.